Hello, I'm Katherine, and welcome to the Empowered Empaths and Sensitive Souls channel. I wanted to talk about trauma awareness for sensitive people. I think this is a really important topic. To be honest, of all the sensitive and intuitive people that I've met in my community and through teaching clients, many of them are impacted to some degree by trauma. So I think this is a really important topic to have awareness of some of the symptoms of trauma and to have information about some things we can do to help to heal from trauma, because trauma definitely impacts our quality of life. It impacts our peace of mind, our health and well-being. So one of the things is that often when we think of trauma, we think of the big traumas. So when we say the word trauma, we might think of physical violence, of accidents, of war, things like that, that these are things that cause trauma. So if you don't have any of these type of major events in your life, you may think, oh, I couldn't really be impacted by trauma. Even though you might have some of the symptoms of trauma, you wouldn't perhaps attribute them to trauma because you don't have those type of events in your life. But it's been found that the little traumas, what we call the little traumas, can actually have significant effects and cumulative effects as one trauma layers upon another. The effects of the small traumas can be quite considerable also. So trauma, any response, any experience where the person feels overwhelmed and unable to respond can create trauma. That's a real reframe for many of us from what we think trauma is. So things like pre-surgery anesthetic can cause trauma. Things like bullying can cause trauma. Things like being stuck in an elevator could cause trauma. Think of the, a huge number of experiences where you may have felt absolutely overwhelmed, especially as a sensitive person, as an empathic person who get more easily overwhelmed. Being in a room with a really angry, aggressive person and, difficult to leave, or just feeling, stuck in the room with that person, that could cause trauma. So because sensitive people and empathic people, feel sensations and emotions so deeply, obviously even the small traumas can have a significant effect. So it's good to be aware of this, that the small traumas can cause trauma symptoms too. They can contribute to stress, to feelings of anxiety and fear, to a lack of safety. They can develop neural pathways in the brain so as those triggers and those trauma sensations and emotions are more easily accessed. So once we have those neural pathways developed in the brain, then experiences that are similar to the original traumas will then allow us to more easily switch into those really unhealthy neural pathways and just keep running those, running our brain along those pathways. So it's important to find ways to develop healthy neural pathways for relaxation and peace. So there's lots of ways that we can do that. Many of the modern approaches to trauma incorporate mindfulness. The mindfulness approach is being found very effective for healing trauma, also somatic body-based therapies. So mindfulness has become a popular way to regain that sense of empowerment after trauma, to normalize the nervous system, to create the relaxation response in the body, and to build those neural pathways for relaxation and peace. So there are lots of things that we can do to heal from trauma. On the other hand, ignoring trauma and numbing and medicating through alcohol, food, or whatever way you may do that doesn't work well, the trauma won't go away. It will tend to, it will still be stored in the body and contributing to sleep problems, to difficulties with just living life fully, perhaps feeling you can't do certain things that you would like to do, interfering with life quality, with just enjoyment of life, peace of mind. Trauma impacts life in so many ways. It's also been found to contribute to many chronic health conditions. People that have experienced trauma and that's still unresolved in the body, stored in the body, there are so many symptoms that can result from that. Things like headaches can be contributed to by trauma, anxiety, depression, difficulty sleeping, just hypervigilance. Many symptoms can be attributed to trauma or contributed to by trauma. So with mindfulness, some of the simple practices are awareness of the breath and also body scan. So this really helped to normalize the nervous system, to relax the body. I've done other types of meditation for years, but I found the mindfulness approach really helps to rebalance my nervous system and body and create those healthy neural pathways. Because yes, I have experienced some types of trauma in my life, and I've done quite a bit of work with that, but there are still some residues that I'm working on through mindfulness, and I'm finding that really helpful. Because if we don't resolve it, it tends to continue to, affect our quality of life. So I really encourage you to find some techniques that work for you, to, if you've experienced really serious trauma, to find a practitioner that can help you with healing that trauma and, take your life back from trauma. So I wanted to share a couple of techniques with you from Paul Levine, who created the created and teaches a somatic approach to healing trauma. And these two techniques are quite simple, and they are helpful for feeling safe after having experienced, serious trauma or smaller traumas that are still contributing to that sense of not feeling safe. So with trauma, there's an interference with our sense of boundary, the boundary between the body, between ourselves and the world. So Paul Levine talks about techniques that can help to strengthen that boundary between you and the world and restore that healthy boundary. So one of the techniques that he says is to take the right hand and to put that under the arm, and then take the other hand and put that on the shoulder. And that helps to give that sense of containment. So if you're feeling anxious, fearful, difficulty relaxing, you can try this technique and to see how that helps you to calm down. It really is quite calming. And just watching the breath while you do that, just being aware of the breath. Awareness of the breath can and does really affect the state of the mind and the emotions. So if you can also just slow down the breath, that really helps too. So if you notice that you're not breathing, that you're holding your breath, that you're breathing fast, you can just be aware of the breath. You know, as you go through the day, just notice your breath at times and just breathing fully and deeply. Just being aware of your breath can really help to calm the mind and the emotions and bring the body back into a state of harmony and balance. The other technique that Paul Levine shared was to place one hand on the forehead and one on the heart, and just to feel the flow of energy between the heart and the forehead, between the center of the chest and the forehead. It's actually the heart chakra there, it's not the physical heart. Let's get that flow of energy happening again. Until you notice a shift. Then, keeping the hand on the heart, move the other hand down to the solar plexus. So, and just feeling that, so just placing the hand on the solar plexus and just feeling that flow of energy between the heart and the solar plexus. Nice. So, that's a couple of techniques to help you to just bring balance and harmony to the body, the emotions, the mind, the spirit, and help you just to feel safe and to feel good. Okay, so thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.